A couple of very critical questions that we have to find out from our skier is what kind of skiing they do, where do they ski, how often they ski, how aggressive are they skiing, and so forth. And that way it'll help us determine what kind of a boot to put them in. So what we want to make sure of, first and foremost, is the flex of the boot. A soft flex, a 60 flex, for example, a 70 is for a beginner skier. When you jump up to about 80, 90, you're an intermediate skier. When you're up to 100 plus, you're an advanced skier. And the reason for that flex of the boot, when you initiate your turn, you want that ski to respond very quickly if you're a good skier. If you're not that good, we want that ski to respond a little bit less quickly. We want it to be more forgiving. So flex is critical in a boot. So when we get those questions answered, then we go and we select the boot, and then we start our boot fitting process. The most critical part of any skiing or snowboarding is your boot fit. And boot fitting has progressed a great deal over the last several years. There's no more need for cutting and tying and pulling apart and all of a boot. The way the boots are being manufactured nowadays, it should be very easy and simple to fit a boot, no matter what kind of foot you have. So we're going to start with Joyce. I'm going to measure the bottom of her foot. Everything's going to start at the base of your foot. We're going to look at the footbed, then we're going to build ourselves up. So with Joyce on the machine, we're going to first measure her up and see what size and width she has. Then I'm going to go behind her, have her go into the ski position and see if she's pronating. And then I'm going to look at the bottom, and this is going to tell me what kind of a footbed she's going to start with, whether she has a high arch, a medium arch, or a low arch. And Joyce actually has a medium arch. Okay, Joyce, you're all set. Why don't we come over here and sit down. Now, while she sits down and puts on her ski socks, incidentally, with a ski sock, that's the other critical thing about skiing. A ski and a snowboard sock should be fairly thin. You don't wear 2 pairs of socks, it's going to cut your circulation off and all. What happens with a thin ski sock, it's going to wick the moisture away from your foot. So it's actually going to pull the moisture away. So get a real decent ski sock nowadays and your feet will be a lot warmer. So while Joyce is preparing getting a ski sock on for the boot fit, I'm going to start the process of heating the footbed for her. And I mentioned earlier that she has a medium arch. With our custom footbeds, and the archway, it has fiberglass. What the fiberglass does, it gives you a real good solid posture on the bottom of your foot. While that's heating up, I'm going to actually put the boot on her first to make sure we have the right size before we go into the footbed here. So why don't you have a seat?
I love the color.
Bright, shiny, flashy. Joyce is always flashy. So she'll put her foot in the boot. What I'm going to do, buckle it up snug. Not real tight, not loose, just going to be a snug fit.
Feels nice and comfortable.
You haven't done anything yet. So stand up for me. So when Joyce bends her knee forward, what happens in a boot fit, your heel slides it back into a heel pocket. So your whole foot should slide back. Your toes should pull away from the front of the boot. You want to barely brush the front of the boot. You don't want to be crammed, but also you don't want to have too much room. We want to get as snug fit as possible. So when you get into that position, you bend your knee forward, you slide your foot back. It's got to be nice and snug. That way your foot's not going to move as you're skiing. How's that fit?
Great.
How's
Feels
the width?
Comfortable. Feels nice
Width, good? We're real concerned about running top of the foot here, the width, as well as right in through here. Okay. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take the boot off, we're going to put a footbed in, it's going to be a whole different fit. Okay, come on over here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to guide your feet up on top of the footbed, so position yourself. Hold on. Okay, step. Step. What's happening is the actual footbed itself is going to mold to the bottom of her foot. And as I mentioned earlier, she actually has a medium arch, so that arch support is pulling your whole foot in. What happens a great deal is people go out and they want to put a boot on. They want the most comfort, but they get a boot that's too big. And without a footbed, when you put your foot into the boot, your whole foot spreads out. Now what happens when the foot spreads out, you're loosening up the boot throughout the whole area, and it's going to slide around after you start skiing for a day or two. So that's why we want to get a snug fit, and we want to pull your whole foot in. Okay, Joyce, you're all set. In the interim, what I'm going to do while I'm putting the footbed into the boot itself is I'm actually going to heat up a shell. because she does have problems with her ankles. So by heating up the shell, we're not only going to mold the actual bottom of her foot to the footbed, but we're also going to mold the shell to her foot itself. That way you're going to get the extreme comfort fit. And we have some extra tools that we use from time to time. If we have to push the toe out a little bit, we'll put these cups on the toes of the boot, and also we'll put wedges in certain parts of the boot. So if you have a pronated ankle, or if you have an ankle bone that has been broken in the past and in certain areas, we're actually going to mold that whole foot so you get that comfort fit. And that's why it's so critical to get a comfortable boot fit when you're skiing, especially when it's colder, those colder days. So as I mentioned, while the boot's heating up, we're going to put the custom footbed in. Anything to add?
No, I like the fact that the liner is custom moldable also. Got some nice padding around your ankle.
Yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to just mold the actual shell itself, but we can also mold the liner at the same time. So the boot's all heated up. Okay. We matched here. You notice it's all purple. Okay, so the boot is still very warm. We have our footbed already set inside. The base of our foot is all set. Okay, stand up for me now. I'm going to have her bend her feet forward. Just stay stable. Keep your knee forward. Now what's happening right here, I tightened it up as much as I could, so it's going to all start to form around the base of her foot.
I can feel it right under the arch. Some nice support.
And then once the boot's all molded to her foot, we pop the boot off, we put it back on again once it's all hard and the shell's hard, and then it's all going to be a perfect fit. So that's what we do for our perfect fit. So again, very critical to have a boot that fits well, and I'm not going to reiterate enough, you want it as snug as possible. When you bend knee forward, your heel goes back into a heel pocket, your toes pull away from the front of the boot. You want to barely brush the front of the boot. The custom footbed makes a great deal of difference, and the custom shell can as well if you have problematic feet. Make sure you have a comfortable boot before you even go looking at skis. Thanks for visiting Alpine Ski and Snowboard. Come by anytime.